Oh. Good morning, America, and whatever other country you hail from. So, we're just doing a live here in order to go and test the internet connection, see how things are going, and stuff like that. I'm on the other end of the house, and I haven't had a chance to go and move the cable modem over to this section of the house yet. It's still actually, well, it was up in the apartment. I couldn't get enough signal to actually be able to upload videos or anything. And so it's currently residing in my garage, shooting 35 feet through the entire rest of the building in order to be able to hit this side. So we're just doing a test run here. You're more than welcome to throw up a comment or a question or anything. We're just going to be, just a half an hour just to see how this ends up running out. Well, I've got people's attention in case anybody ends up reviewing this, and I'll probably talk about it in an actual live later. I've had a lot of kickback from one of the videos that I posted over on RCG Racing of doing the mud mowers and stuff like that. The guys that I ride with, yes, they have a few beers. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. That's definitely the case with the guys that I ride with. As far as me and my sobriety and whether I am still sober as can be, you better believe it. John and I spend the entire ride sharing sodas and having a good time. And I'm at the point now where I really don't have any craving whatsoever for beer at all. I occasionally will end up with cravings for cider. Cider is definitely my one thing that I actually still end up with a craving for occasionally. And so I do have to be careful about that. Well, give me 5 seconds to go and write a reply on an incoming message from a fellow YouTuber. And I will be right back with you. La di da di da da da. So the reason why I'm testing out the capability of the internet here is because I've been asked to join another YouTuber for doing a live chat and stuff like that as kind of an interview as far as the racing is concerned and a few other things and stuff like that. And so I want to make sure that everything is working correctly. Now, the interview that I'm going to be doing is going to be on Twitch, I believe, at first, but I believe they're going to end up re-showing it on the YouTube channel itself, and the YouTube channel is The Grass Factor. They're actually a pretty decent group of guys if you're into really trying to go and make your lawn look as perfect as possible. So I'm going to be sending them some pictures of my horrific lawn and let them enjoy talking about how horrible it looks. So you guys might want to go and tune in over on The Grass Factor and see how they're doing and what's going to be going on there. So just a shout out for them so that they will hopefully get a few subscribers. They're a good group. They're growing quickly. Let's see. What do we got going on here? Let's see. I have a wizard mower like yours. So do keep in mind, Wizards are actually rebrand brands. Wizard does not actually make a single machine that they have ever sold. The really old Wizards are actually pan frames that were rebranded, which are actually Dynamarks. The one that I drive that I built Mud Wizard out of is actually a rebranded AYP. It's the same chassis that Pool and Pros are now using in a lot of machines. So do keep that in mind. If you're dealing with Wizards, a lot of times you're better off to go and find whatever the whatever the Craftsman is, that is an equal build to that. Also, Wizard uses second quality parts on a regular basis. When I was tearing down that Wizard and I was working on it and putting it together, there are certain things you notice as you're tearing it down if you're comparing it directly to an actual Craftsman chassis. And I never bothered pointing those out in the video because to the average person mowing their lawn and stuff like that, it would never make a difference. For beating the thing up off road, it definitely made a difference, which is the reason why it is I did all the frame reinforcement that's in all those old videos. Let's see. Let's see. Hunter says, I told you I was applying for a John Deere internship before, and I am very happy to tell you I got accepted, and I'm getting a free scholarship to agricultural and diesel equipment. Dude, that is pimping. I love it. That is great. I'm glad to hear it. Yes, I do actually remember you talking with me about that. So I'm really glad that you got it. And, learn some diesel stuff. That way I have somebody to ask when I have diesel questions. My friend Mark helps me out a lot. I have another gentleman who's a friend of mine who is up in Canada who works on diesel generators and stuff. It's definitely something that is not in my ballpark of knowledge. And so I try to go and network out as much as possible. And that really is a big thing in this world and dealing with stuff, is that everything changes every 3 years, every 5 years, every whatever. They come out with so many different changes that you need to network and deal with the people that have that little click with a certain generation. That's part of the reason why it is I focus on certain machines from certain years, because a lot of times it's me trying to go and keep it within the ballpark that I'm knowledgeable on, and occasionally I'll get a machine that's outside of that ballpark that I can extrapolate to. And that's one thing I tell people when they start off, if you want to flip lawn tractors like I have been over the years, is find what is prolific in your area and that you can get cheap and you can learn on, you can build a junkyard from, and you can flip easily. And stick with a certain chassis style. If your area is entirely covered in AYP Broncos, then learn that AYP Bronco like the back of your hand so that you tear them apart without thinking, and you will make money. But if you get an AYP chassis one week and you get a Bronco MTD the next, you get Cub Cadet shaft drives the next, and you get all of these and stuff, yes, it's fun to go and have all the different types and stuff like that, like I do at this point. But it does you no good, because out of all three of those chassis, there isn't a bloody thing that interchanges at all. And so there's no junkyard equivalent. There's no putting stuff, spitballing it together in order to flip something quickly. And so make sure to focus on your chassis style that's prolific in your area. And I hit the wrong button. There we go. Okay, so let me see here. What we got? Evening, is it the first broadcast from the house? Yes. Currently, we're testing in order to go and see if this will hold up, whether it drops out or anything. I've got an interview / discussion coming up with another YouTuber called Grass Factor. The Grass Factor is the YouTube channel. It's a group of guys who does a podcast based on working on lawns and stuff like that. Professional lawn care, not the ghetto lawns that I work on around here and help with and build machines for. These guys are pro grade. But they want to interview as far as me and the racing, a little bit about the mud mower stuff. And I'm going to send them some pictures so that they can thoroughly tear apart the horrific thing that I call a lawn around my house. But so, yeah, We're just kicking it up here. We're going to run it for a half an hour just to make sure everything runs solid and go from there. Let's see. Have you had any experience with John Deere X320 mowers? Would you recommend replacing the hydrostatic fluid even though the manual states lifetime oil? Lifetime oil is one of those really weird statements. So the problem with lifetime oil is that what John Deere loves to do is John Deere loves to go and design their machine based on the idea that they think its service life and warranty life should be about a certain number of hours. And that is your lifetime oil, is that the oil supposedly will last that warrantyable service time. Case in point, one of the things I've always pointed out to people is never, ever, ever, unless you are mechanically inclined and you're capable of fixing your own vehicles, never buy a vehicle that has about 120 to about 140,000 miles on it. And the reason being is because all of your warranty items on a vehicle are based on 100,000 miles. So almost all of your warranty items last to about 120 to 140,000 miles, and then they start dropping dead. For example, I've owned 4 different Ford Rangers. Every single one of those Ford Rangers hit about 135,000 and fried an alternator, fried a starter, fried a coil pack, fried a power steering pump. At some point at about 130 to 140,000, every Ford Ranger I have ever owned has ended up frying something that was covered by that 100,000 mile warranty. That is what John Deere calls lifetime oil. So do I think you should change out lifetime oil? If you are at like 500 hours on that machine, yes, I think it is totally a good idea to do. Be careful, read all the directions, make sure that you read all the exact service manuals and stuff, and plan on it taking a long time. Lifetime oil is what Craftsman states is a 314 or a 618 hydrostatic transmission. Basically, because those hydros, the 314s and the 618s, are lucky if they manage to go and make it to about 300 to 500 hours. So, yeah, there is no such thing as lifetime oil. This is what we warranty to, and so that's the lifetime of the oil. John Deere does it. Cub Cadet does it. Husqvarna, Craftsman, almost every major brand has some version of hydro that they claim lifetime oil on. The 314 and the 618, for example, claim lifetime oil if you read them. The reason being is because the only way that you can service one of those and drain the oil is to literally remove the whole entire transaxle and to dump it extremely slowly over backwards on a special turnstile in order to drain it slowly, in order to finally be able to refill it. And then once you get it put back into the machine, most machines you actually have to have the rear entire pan, the fender pan, removed in order to be able to cycle that transmission to add another half of a quart before you can actually put the before you can put the pan back on in order to be able to actually use the machine. So plan on it taking a while, unless you can find out that yours is one that has dual drain plugs or something like that. All right, let me see here. I made a race mower that goes 12 miles per hour. 12 miles per hour is more than respectable once you start getting into mowers and stock steering and stuff like that. Hi, Fuzz wants to see the camera. Um, can you guess why Fuzz is called Fuzz? There's no clue why. This cat actually has fuzz that is so bad. Her hair is almost like 2.5 inches long when it's fully grown out, that I actually have to go and take buzzers and buzz her all the way down during the middle of summer, because otherwise she overheats and just sits there panting like a dog that's been running all day. So yeah, a little background on Fuzz. Hey, show the back face. Bat kitty. That's an amused face right there. Okay. Um, but yeah, so anyways, if you have not added a actual gas pedal to your racing mower, your whatever, um, about 15, 16 miles per hour, your top gear usually becomes pretty darn unmanageable. You guys probably saw the testing that I did with the John Deere Ice Racer. I got that going about 16 miles per hour, and you just could not manage the thing on a tight turn when it was in fifth gear. So, yeah, at that kind of speed, I would say that is more than acceptable. Add a gas pedal if you plan to go anything faster than that, though. Seriously, that's no joke, straight out right. I don't care whether it's a brake from a bike that you use, whether you use one of the Mr. Gasket gas pedals that I advertise or the Speedway ones that I use for the racers now. I don't care if you build it out of a hinge, but if you're going to go anything faster than about 15 miles per hour, add a gas pedal. You need it. Let's see. I made a mud mower that does 39 miles per hour. Congratulations. You and just about everybody else that likes to hit a tree as hard as possible. To be quite honest, once you get past about like 25 to 30 miles per hour, if you don't build full custom front end, you're just asking to go and total yourself straight into a tree and end up a statistic as far as, ATV crashes are concerned. So be careful. I'm not saying you can't do 39 miles per hour. I'm just saying that if you haven't done full actual professional heim joints and everything else, it probably is a bad idea. What's your opinion on pandas? I don't know, Fuzz. What's your opinion on pandas? I really don't understand where your question is coming from. Do you mean pandas is in the thing that's in China that eats the bamboo? I don't know. They're fat, they're cute, they're cuddly. They make a lot of bears based on them. I don't know. It's a panda. Uh, let's see. Craftsman like before I built main mud mower. Yeah, those crotch shift craftsmans are very hard to kill. The thing I liked most about that unit was because it was crotch shift, you never ever had problems with shifting it in the mud. If you guys watch on some of the videos, you can actually pick up the fact that mud builds up in and it screws up my shifter in Mud Wizard. And I end up having to knock it a few times in order to get the mud knocked off. And then I can shift it through the gears correctly. That is one thing I really don't like about Mud Wizard. And I've actually debated trying to find an old fashioned crotch shift machine in order to rebuild another mud mower. I mean, when you're out on the trails we have here in Maine, it's very rare that you actually get up in above third gear. So you very rarely do more than about 10 to 12 miles per hour on most of the trails because they're just so uneven, bumpity, raggedy, and sharp turned that you can't go much faster than that. Do, do, do. Let's see, what else do we got going on here? I've been working on, whoa, if you've never tried to do a YouTube live chat, if people have responded further than where you have scrolled, you have to be really careful because all of a sudden YouTube live chat will just jump to the very bottom of everything. So I know I look kind of stupid occasionally when I say whoa, but that's the reason why you hear me do it all the time. Let me see. I've been working on an electric adult pedal cart. I installed a 1,000-watt electric motor, everything hooked up. So I was watching your video, not sure how I can install a DPTT switch to reverse the motor. Thanks. Just look up the wiring diagram. Literally go to Google and type in DPDT wiring, and just look it up. It's not that hard. It's really actually quite simple. You can actually, if you're if you're that crummy at doing wiring, on Amazon, if you look around now, you can actually order switches that already have a pre-wired harness attached to them, and all you do is just hook up the two leads and go. But it's really not that hard to do. Just simply Google it, and you will find all kinds of stuff on how to do it. Have I got rid of the nice old Yardman tractor? No. I posted it, and immediately my messenger got pummeled with some of the stupidest offers I have ever had in the last couple of years. I decided just to mothball it at this point. In a full disclosure, well, let's find out. So I posted up the video on that Yardman, and let's go back here to YouTube Studio on my other screen, which unfortunately I don't have a way to share screens with you. So if we go to content and we pull up the analytic report on that, that video I posted up ended up with 5.3 thousand views. I actually lost a subscriber. I'm going to cry over that one tonight. I mean, just so many tears. But that video pulled $60 worth of income and revenue on that. So you guys really liked it. That actually was one of the better premieres of a tractor hunt video that I've had in quite a while. I've said many, many, many times straightforwardly in the past that almost every tractor hunt video that I post is worth doing because inevitably I usually make somewhere around $40 to $50 off the video. And so even if I buy a machine for $50, as long as I can fix it primarily out of my junkyard, I almost always make back the first initial $50 that I invest in buying that machine. So you guys definitely loved that machine. The analytics for the watch time on it, the average view duration on that video, and the typical average view duration and time that you guys chose to watch through that video was actually one of the highest I've had on a tractor hunt video in quite a while. So I don't know. I think we should bring that machine back. In the sense of more a restoration. A lot of you got a hold of me about the blades, and a lot of you confirm that nobody makes the blade, but a lot of you decided to do the research for me in order to tell me that there are 22.5-inch blades that I might be able to get from Tractor Supply that are available. apparently there are actually snapper blades that are made that are 22.5 inch that may or may not have the exact same bolt pattern that does. The other thing that was brought to my attention is that blades are made out of hardened steel, but that doesn't mean that I couldn't potentially buy out a set of blades that had small holes or not quite, or not all three holes or whatever, and heat that section of the blade up, then drill them in order to be able to have the holes, and then potentially re-quench the blade to be able to have blades that fit that machine. That's not outside of the realm of things I'm capable of doing. So I don't know. I mothballed the machine. I did not sell it. I kept it. We're going to decide in the spring what to do with it. The motor that is in it is definitely massively high hours. That thing definitely got to work out every weekend of its life. And I don't know. We're going to take a look at that motor in the spring and make some decisions on it, because it's high hours without question. It is worn. I do believe it is lacking compression in at least one cylinder, and potentially it is worn to the point of a lack of compression in both cylinders. Flathead valves are not a tunable item. So if it's rings that have made it lose compression, then it is what it is. If it's valves that are that worn, it is what it is. That's the problem with flatheads. So we'll see. We'll see what we can do. I don't know. I'm holding on to it right now. We'll see what we can do with it. Let's see. I take it it's not the usual camera because you look like a news reporter from the 80s. It's the same exact webcam that I usually work with. The difference is I'm using, give me 5 seconds. I'm using an LED light. All right. So I'm using an LED light for this that is set for 3000K that's over the top of me. And it seems to be picking up far better than the other light was. The other light that I was using when I was in the apartment over the garage was a 6000K and a 5000K overhead, and it was bleaching me out big time. So hopefully this is better. Hopefully you guys like this. I don't know whether I'll be live streaming from here very often. I will probably reset up a second computer over the top of the garage in the apartment once I set up a work area up there so that I can live stream from there. And we'll see. We'll I don't know. At this point, I have so much moving that I'm still working on that everything is still sorting out, and it is what it is. Brenton, what is the best mower engine ever? No such thing. Every single motor has its Achilles heel. There's no such thing as the best motor that was ever made. If anybody wants to say that there is a best motor that was ever made, then that's their bias. It is what they want to go and say. But every motor has its Achilles heel. You know, Briggs & Stratton singles. If you have a Briggs & Stratton single flathead, everybody's going to argue that that's the best motor ever made because it's non-tunable. The problem is, that is its Achilles heel. Once it comes out of tune, it is what it is. The motor is junk. There's nothing you can do about it. You can buy valves for a flathead and do a valve grind in, except for the moment that you screw up and you grind it too far, you're done. Plus, by the time your valve is that out of tune on a flathead, your valve seat has been beat to piss, and therefore you're in a giant rebuild on a motor that you can literally get at a junkyard for free all weekend. Valves, Briggs & Stratton single overhead engines back in the 90s and stuff, before the AVS series, they were very solid motors. If it is a Briggs & Stratton single that is a 19, a 20, or a 21, and it has an AVS sticker on it, that thing is a ticking time bomb that Briggs built, pulled the pin on, and handed to you and said, hot potato. Kohler 14, 15, 16 singles and stuff like that. They will run into hours that Briggs singles could never ever do. They will run into hours that are just insane high hours. But you will rebuild or have to put a new carb on that stupid thing way more often than you ever will a Briggs of the same year. That's their Achilles that I run into all the time. Ethanol. As far as ethanol in the gas, it kills those Kohlers way worse, way faster than it does the Briggs any day of the week. Kohler V-twins. Kohler V-twins are amazing motors as far as longevity, just like the Kohler singles. But they will sit there and they will eat coils as often as I buy a bag of Doritos. I have watched Kohler twins literally, once they start eating coils, for some reason, they will continue to eat coils about every couple of years. And it just is what it is. Oh, what's another one everybody likes? Kawasaki's. Everybody loves Kawasaki twins. Kawasaki twins are torque monsters, absolute torque monsters. There's not a twin out there that horsepower to horsepower can beat the torque of a Kawasaki, straight up. So the problem with them, though, is their charging systems are basket cases. They love to go and fry their stator and take the rectifier with them, which means every time you find one of those Cowie twins that has a bad rectifier, the stator is bad too, and that repair is a minimum of $140 to $180 because you're buying both. And Cowie decided to go and make their rectifiers proprietary, and their stators put out more AC voltage than most other stators do, which means if you try to go and hotwire it with a standard rectifier, you'll fry it because Cowie. So like I said, everything has its Achilles heel. Let's see. Hey, wasn't sure if you saw my comment or you answered already. Sorry, sorry. I believe I answered all the comments up above, so hopefully I got your comment if you go back through and review. Hey, Neil, thank you again for your help yesterday. I ended up getting the tractor for $100. Holy cow, he went from $300 to $100? Dude, You are a shrewd negotiator. I need you on my team to go and buy tractor hunt tractors. I ended up getting the tractor for $100, left me a lot more wiggle room for repairing and restoration. Dude, that's awesome. So one thing that I have told you guys is you are more than welcome to send me an email. Anytime you want, you're more than welcome to send me an email, and I will try to go through and answer them as best I can. Joey here did exactly what he needed to do in order to get help. And so I'm going to give him a big pat on the back, and I'm going to tell you one thing. Joey took time to immediately have pictures. I didn't have to ask him for pictures of the problem. I didn't have to ask him for pictures of the machine. I didn't have to ask him pictures about what was going on. I didn't have to get back to him. He had pictures immediately in the very first email, which meant the moment I popped it open, I was intrigued and I answered it as fast as I possibly could, because those are emails worth answering. If you send me an email that says, "Hi, Redneck Computer Geek, my tractor won't start. Period. So-and-so, I love your videos, Joe Schmo from Bengal Cock, whatever." I'm sorry. I am not even going to bother answering your email. I don't have time. I literally get 25 plus emails a day. On my Facebook page, I get upwards of 20 to 30 messages a day, sometimes upwards of 50 messages a day during the summertime. When it comes to YouTube itself, I get 100 to 150 plus comments every day during the summertime. If you want me to answer something, if you want me to help you with a question, you need to do some legwork to make it worth my time. Because if I sat there fiddling around with everybody that sent me a, "Hey, my tractor won't start, can you help me?" question mark, period, smiley face, hoo-hoo, I would have no life and I would never get to make you guys video. So please be like Joey. Send pictures, send a description, send a state up. This is what I know. This is what's going on. If you want to send me a biblical email of what's going on, I will gladly read that over a 2-sentence email every day of the week. So please be like Joey. Send an email worth my time. Let's see. How do you lift a mower? With your knees. Most definitely. You lift with your knees, not your back. How do I make my single cylinder 17 horsepower to not blow valve spring retainers? You have got to have something massively out of tune if you're blowing valve spring retainers. You've either got, I don't know, you'd have to be like either bottoming out valves on the piston, which would mean that your timing key and the flywheel got broken somehow, or you've got your valve so badly out of tune, well, actually, no, you have it over tightened to the point that you're rat-a-tat-tatting that thing into beyond, and that would cause you to blow retainers. Or, I mean, you could have damage to the point that the retainer is so bent, impacted, or something that it needs to be replaced. Well, I just got a notice that my connection is unstable. Please wait while we try reconnecting. So did you guys just lose connection? Or am I still alive? No, it says it's still alive. So right now, did you guys lose connection? Please throw me a comment right now That's exactly the test we were after, was whether I'd be able to maintain while I was right here where I'm streaming from. Let's see. All right, let me see here. Holy cow, you guys have been... What in the world are you guys discussing? My son John is a good kid. Yes. Yeah, John might not be very good at schooling and stuff like that, but when it comes to manners and everything else, he's a pretty good kid. I have got to do something about the background here because it's interesting that the camera is having focal point problems, and I think it's because that background area over there is about 15 feet away, and I think it's wigging because of that. So need to figure out, maybe I'll make a drop down cloth or something for when I'm in this location. That might actually help. Let's see. How am I doing today? I am ugly. Born looking that way, but still ugly. They say you'll grow out of it, but nope, just ugly. Let's see. What about a GX Honda? What in the world are you guys babbling about? I got a Billy Goat Leaf vacuum. Oh, dude, I just got sent something. Oh, look at this bad boy. I'm not going to turn it on right now, but I just got sent. Whoops. Probably help if I show it to you, go in the right direction. There we go. I just got sent that by a sponsor. So that bugger is going to make cleaning out in front of the garage and in the garage a lot easier, blowing all the dust out when I'm working on tractors and stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to testing that thing out, throwing it in some videos. And they sent me that. It's about a $200 setup. And it comes with a 4 amp battery. And I mean, I've used it several times already, and it's still fully charged. I've used it for almost a half an hour already. I'm waiting for a couple of days of no rain so that I can be able to test it out and see how it works on a few dry leaves. Man, what are you guys babbling about in the comments section? You got a little bit of everything going on here. Oh, you guys are trying to answer each other's questions about something. Okay. Hello, love your videos. Blah, blah, blah. No, I didn't say tighten your valves. I said your valves are probably too tight. There's a difference. The other thing is if it was timing that was off enough so that your cylinder was coming up, I do believe on most of those you can end up with valve tap. Not quite sure, but I do believe you can. Tell John not to give up because I'm 14 and computers, I probably never would have managed to go and get the C's that I did in English because all of my English teachers sucked at computers. So I would fix their computers and magically I would get C's on my English report card, even though all of my papers had D's and F's. And then when I was in college, I failed English 101 twice. But ironically, in both of my speech classes, I ended up perfect. I ended up with a 3.5 out of a 4.0 GPA, and in my first year, I ended up with a 3.8 out of a 4.0 in my second year. So anybody who wants to make fun of my speech, feel free, go for it. When it comes to addressing a crowd, continuing the conversation and stuff like that, I got an A. Unfortunately, the problem with this chat situation is that I read extremely slow. And so when I go to try and read through you guys' comments, that's when I end up with people that get upset when they review the chats. Let's see. Testing. Thanks, Jerk. I appreciate it. His valves are fine, but yet he keeps popping them off. Thank you. I'm glad somebody said that. I didn't want to be the jerk to say it, but I was about to go and say exactly that. Everything's fine, but it doesn't work. Oh my God, do I hate that diagnosis comment. Oh man, that is another comment that I just will not answer if you decide to go and put on something for sending me a message, sending me an email. It's perfectly fine, but it doesn't work. If you start off that, isn't the one that automatically gets deleted. All right, guys. Whoops. Your connection is unstable, but yet it came back. Okay, so the answer is it looks as if my connection is pretty well stable for the most part. It doesn't look as if I can see anything about you guys being upset about any of the connection. I don't see you guys ever talking about me lagging or anything. I don't know whether I can actually go down through and review the comments afterwards. So I guess that's what I'm going to end up going down through and double checking and seeing whether you guys commented all about whether this lagged out or not. But we're hitting the point of just under an hour of doing this. So I had only planned on being 30 minutes. So we'll go down through and answer one or two more questions here and call it a night. And I really appreciate, at one point we had 38 of you that were here helping me test. So I really appreciate that you guys dropped in order to say something and help me with testing this out to see whether it would stream and do what I needed to do. Let's see. Would I be interested in two 1963 wheel horse tractors? No, thank you. I've got a bunch of old iron projects already stored up, and I'm actually debating cutting back. Tractor hunt videos really honestly are what make me the most money during summer as far as the Redneck Computer Geek channel is concerned. But if I don't start working on getting some projects caught up around here, they're going to hit the point where they're not going to be salvageable, and I'm going to just have to start junking out more projects. So I think next summer, we're going to cut back the tractor hunting a little bit, probably about 50%, and try to get to the repowers and restores that we really need to do around here. Otherwise, stuff is just not going to be salvageable. Let's see. Yes, you are lagging at times. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. So I am lagging at times, but it never seems to fully cut out. So you guys aren't losing any of my sentences while I'm talking. It just takes it a little bit to catch up at times. Is that what you mean by it lagging out? And I do appreciate that you guys took the time to go and write me out something like that. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Let's see. It is very hard to go and find tractors at a good price because of the pandemic. Without question, which is the other reason why it is I've debated cutting down the tractor hunting. Like I stated earlier in this discussion, basically, if I post a tractor hunt video, I'm pretty well guaranteed to make a revenue kickback on YouTube of around $50 or so. So back before this whole stupid cornhole virus thing, I could buy $50 tractors, freebie tractors, all of that kind of stuff, and guaranteed make my money back at least on the video, if not sell the thing. Right now, here in the state of Maine, even dead doornail tractors that obviously haven't run in years, the average going price right now is a $100 bill, which means that if I buy into it, I make the video for you guys, and I don't end up actually recuperating the cost of buying the machine. Plus, I'm out the parts to fix it during the video, which means I'm forced, no ifs, ands, or buts, I have got to sell that machine to recuperate making you guys the video. And so that kind of puts me in a quandary of, I've got a Bolin 66 here. I've got a really ancient Sears Suburban here. I've got the Sears Custom I'm building the ice racer out of. We've got that Agway, that ancient cast iron transmission Agway that we could rebuild. We've got the one that I just brought home that you guys definitely liked. We've got a bunch of old iron here, and I don't usually do restoration videos, but we potentially could do a series of restoration videos for a summer. I mean, each one of those, that's 5 machines, which means that I could do 1 machine a month all summer and have a series. And that's just machines that I have sitting here on the property right now without me investing. Not to mention, I've got 1, 2, 3, 2. I've got at least 2 machines that are here on the premise that you guys have never actually seen in video. Well, no, actually, one of them you saw in video, but it was 9 years ago, the last time it was in a video. So I don't know. We might retool Redneck Computer Geek a little bit this summer. If the used machine market doesn't drop back down at least to $50 a dead machine, guaranteed I'm going to retool the channel. I'm not going to fully get rid of tractor hunting videos. I'm just going to be a little more selective about what I do tractor hunting videos on, which means that it'll be videos on machines that I know I have a junkyard machine to pull from. Unfortunately, that's just the nature of running a business. You got to adapt. You got to overcome. Otherwise, you die off. I mean, out of my subscription of channels that I watch on YouTube, out of the probably 100 or so channels that I've subscribed to, there's at least a third of them that have gone dormant at this point. So I'm still here. I'm still pushing, but we're going to retool in order to survive. The tractors will still be here, but there might be a lot more automotive stuff next year. That's the other thing. So the other thing is I'm probably going to retool to a lot more automotive stuff. I want to get the Monte Carlo dug out. It's been sitting in my garage for 8 years now. That needs to get dug out. I want to get the 4x4 Ranger running. I want to work on Jesse's truck and get that running. I want to get my 83 F-150 with a 351 Windsor that's bored 40 over with a stroker kit running. I even might get Big Baby running. And there we go. There's 5 projects that all need to get up and running that I'd love to go and have done. I mean, there's a project every month there during the summertime potentially. Plus Van Hollen makes 6, and I'm going to work on that this winter so that hopefully we can have that for the spring in order to do some major hauls. So yeah, I don't know. We're going to have to go and figure out where to go from here when it comes to the channel and what to do. But at this point, we're moved into the house. We are probably 2/3. 2/3 is kind of being generous. We're probably about 50% moved out of the apartment and into the house at this point. We ended up with a situation where, without getting too in detail, basically Jesse had involvement with a storage unit that had been on storage and ongoing, and it was a large unit. I'm talking like a fourth of my living room large unit. And the person that was maintaining it as a family storage unit basically decided all of a sudden to say, screw it, and liquidate it. And it was an all or nothing, get everything out of it. And it had a ton of family heirloom stuff in it. And so right now, there is a ton of that is currently up in the apartment and in the house here that is getting sorted through by Jesse. But it's about 12 years worth of stuff. Like, this storage unit was maintained for almost 10 to 12 years. And it was either take it all or not get any of it. So we did the best we could. We cleaned it out. We're sorting through all of it. But it's just one more thing to go and deal with in a 2-year conundrum of life. But we're getting towards the end of it. The light is definitely at the end of this tunnel, and we're going to make it. Anyways, at that point, my YouTube little counter up in the left-hand corner here says that I am at 59 minutes and 20 seconds. I really appreciate that you guys came in here, that you gave me feedback on how everything is going on. Let's see. And giving me just lagging every now and then, but you catch back up. Okay, so it never fully dropped for you. So anyways, yeah, okay, so ADHD moment there. Squirrel. All right, so thank you. I'm at the point where my voice is starting to go. I've got video that I need to work on tomorrow, so I do not want to burn out my voice. Plus, I've got a live chat on Thursday that I'll be doing and everything else. So let's save my voice box so that I can make you guys some videos that are a lot more interesting than me sitting here waving around a soda and talking about random babble. Thank you very much. Everybody have fun. And I really appreciate all, well, actually 40 something of you guys that stopped in. Thank you very much, everybody.